I'm Jonathan and welcome to my channel, Jonathan's Diamond Painting and Stuff. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're coming back to me, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you here today. So this is another first to my channel. I'm going to be doing a very tripped out video. I'm working on my medieval town square kit. Is it town square? I cannot remember for the life of me. And here we are. Yes, I have to look these things up to realise. But it's a medieval town anyway, and it's around a square, so I think it is medieval town square, or medieval village. I don't know. I honestly can't remember. That's what sort of day it is today. It is Sunday, the 25th of March. No, it isn't. It is Monday, the 25th of March. It feels like a Sunday because my husband Alan is on annual leave and I'm on a day off. I'm back on Wednesday as normal. Yeah, so it's just... I don't know why my body clock is all over the place, but anyway, let's just go with it. So first of all, I finished half of my medieval village or town square or whatever you want to call it. Actually, let me just... I'm giving up. Right. And I'll just turn this around so you can see it from the front camera. Let's bring it back a little bit. And you can see this is just half of it. And this is like posable. You know, like you can just bring these bits out and have them like that, which I kind of like. Or you can just have them all closed together like they would be, you know, if this was real. Oh, sorry, did I ruin it? So there is various bits going on. If I just... I don't think you'll be able to see this from behind, from above, but anyway, so this in here is a tapestry maker. I will try and take some pictures and get some zoomed in shots for you. But yeah, so, and he's actually working on a tapestry which has the iconic yellow castle there. And then you've got lots of different coloured threads. It's very cool. And outside there's beekeeping, there's a hive, and there's a vegetable patch and everything. So that's really cool. It's not actually finished yet in here because I think this is a carpenter's, and it also has a working winch. So if I just turn it around again for you, so, and then yeah, so just so that they can bring the wheels up to be worked on in the upper. Just a second. There you go. In the upper workshop, and all the roofs come off, which is really cool. So you can see inside. You know, yeah, and this is like kind of a cheese maker in here. So yeah, so there's lots going on. Very, very cool. I'll probably do a proper in-depth pan and everything once it's done. And then we've got this like oak tree, and then it has just a few signs on it like "Beware the Dragon Knight," and then there's a wanted for the thief and for sale for the goat. So that's just very cool. Okay, so yeah, I'm really enjoying all the little details in this set. And I think I'm probably working on the guard tower now, but I'm not entirely sure. So we're just going to go with it, and I'm just going to carry on. I'm on bag 14 at the moment. Okay, so let's just get started. I do apologise. I know I promised a while ago I was going to do a wee brick video on Winter Cottage, which is an old Lego kit which I've wanted to get my hands on for ages, and so I thought I'd order the parts and wee brick. I did order them, but there were some crucial pieces missing, so I didn't really feel right doing that video until I sorted it out. So I've just reached out to them because they have a really good missing bricks policy, you know, where you could get one missing bricks order per order basically. So I've just done that now. I just, because I had to go through all the pieces just to see which, if there's anything else missing, which I'm glad I did because there were a few others as well, and just to send that off to them. So that's just to bear in mind, you know, if you are doing a wee brick order, um, be prepared for the fact that when it comes, double check all the pieces when it's there, and get that off as soon as you can, and then just so you're prepared, because you might be disappointed if you start to build it straight away, like I was. But I will do that video, rest assured, at some point soon. So I thought, this is like the most weirdest thing I thought I could do in a video, is that I'm going to do what I call my movie memories. I don't know if this will work or whether you'll find this interesting at all, or whether it's just totally boring. Very, very big warning that this is probably for my core audience that watches all my content. You know, if you come here just like for something about diamond painting or Lego or something interesting, or a tutorial or everything, you know, I do all those things. Don't leave my channel, but this is just a bit of the wacky video, so it's more of the me video, you know. So I am going to try to remember some of my favourite films and recite what I think the movie plot is, what goes on in each set of the movie from beginning to end, all from what's inside my head. Now, I'm not going to remember everything, and sometimes I'll remember the most silly things ever. I hope you'll find this interesting. Disclaimer, I don't own the rights to any of these films. These are just my memories, you know, and, you know, this is my own unique individual content, you know, so, yeah, I'm just putting my own swing on it, but yeah, so the first one I'm going to do, it is my all-time favourite movie of all time, and some people might think it's odd, but I don't care. It is Sleeping Beauty, the 1959 Walt Disney version. It is my absolute all-time favourite film. It introduced my favourite villain, Maleficent, of all time, and I still love Eleanor Audley's portrayal of her, who, after playing the wicked stepmother a few years before, they grabbed her to do this, you know. So I was bowled away by her performance in this, and she is the epitome of an amazing villain, you know, the voice and everything, you know, it was just incredible. And as lovely and wonderful as Angelina Jolie is, Eleanor Audley will always be it for me. So I'm going to talk about Sleeping Beauty. Okay, are you comfortable? Let's begin. Okay, so it starts with a scene with a book, and it's a very, very gorgeous looking gilt-covered book with lots of gems and rubies and all sorts of things encrusted on the outside. It looks absolutely stunning. And this book does actually look very much like it's in real life, like it's a live action book. I'm not sure if it is or if it's animation. If it is animation, it is incredibly good animation for the time. But yeah, and then this book swings open, and I'm pretty sure it's something like Once Upon a Time. There was I can't remember the exact words. I apologise for this. You know, it was like the king and queen prayed for a daughter, and they got a daughter, and they named her Aurora. And I think, yeah, something like, yes, they named her after the dawn, and everything. And then that day they celebrated a national holiday for the princess, and everyone in the kingdom came to celebrate. And then this is, I mean, there's a few beautiful drawings on in the book, you know, as each bit of this is described, and then it just kind of goes into the main picture, basically, and then just has that joyous day, you know, and anyway, so we get to you we so we just then have some views of the outside of the castle, with some beautiful work by a famous artist at the time that I can't remember the name of, and another little bit of trivia. This was all 100% hand painted, and there was a heck of a lot of work that went into the animation of this film, and they did an extra wide version of this film when it first came out, and I think it was unheard of at that time, and this is probably one of the introductions into widescreen films. You know, it was incredibly wide, so if you wonder why it's such a got the bars on the top and the bottom when you're watching this film, that's why it was pivotal for the time. So anyway, yeah, so we've got these beautiful, beautiful hand-drawn out exteriors of the castles, and you've got all the noble people going in, and people on their horses and everything going into the castle, and then you have is this one difficult? Sorry, I'm trying to find the right pieces, and then it goes into the throne room where the king and queen are sat, and you've got lots of beautiful flags at the top, you know, as it's panning down, and yeah, and then we have all the announcements, and so we have I think is it King Hubert and Prince Philip. And Prince Philip is an important character. He's the prince in the tale, and he is basically betrothed to Aurora. He approaches the cradle, and then he gives a very funny face when he when he sees her, because that's his betrothed. You know, so obviously in those days, it was like quite normal to be betrothed to somebody that was only a baby, and you were like quite a lot older at the time. So yes, so then they say then there is an announcement for the entrance of the three good fairies, and it's Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Now Flora is it always wears pink. Fauna always wears green, and Merryweather always wears blue. Now, another interesting fun fact is that originally, I think they wanted to have them. Someone wanted to have them like Huey, Dewey, and Louie, but I think thankfully one of the producers or writers said, "What's the fun in that?" You know, so they gave them all very unique, different personalities, and which is great, I think. You know, so. Yeah, so they like just appear out of thin air towards the top of the room, you know, and then they just float down majestically because they have little wings and everything. But they do look like ordinary people, just smaller people otherwise, apart from the wings. And then they just arrive, and then they're here to give their gifts to the princess. So then there's like some beautiful music, and I mean the whole score of Sleeping Beauty was set to Tchaikovsky's very, very famous ballet, and barely any notes have been altered in it at all. And I think it was a stipulation of the guy that arranged it, that they wouldn't touch any of the arrangements. What was I going to say? Losing my train of thought, left, right, and centre today, aren't I, Jonathan? Yeah. So then it's Flora's gift, and Flora typically gives her beauty, a gift of beauty, and then there's a lovely sequence and everything, and then it goes on to Fauna, and she gives her the gift of song. so she can sing wonderful things and everything, has a beautiful voice. And then it is the turn of Merryweather. And I think Merryweather says something like "sweet princess," but before she can even say anything, there's dramatic music, and it's like, and then Maleficent appears, out of thin air, and it's just incredible. One of the most amazing entrances of all time to me. And it's something like do 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 do, the classic, and then she's looking very grim and majestic at the same time. She's got the horns, but she's very much human-like in character. She doesn't have wings, and she's got this gorgeous flowing black robe with like purple bits under the trim, under the cuffs, and under the bits at the bottom, and it just flows so majestically. And it's just part of who she is. This cloak, this incredible outfit, and yeah, it was quite. And I think she says something like, "It's quite the assemblage you have here, King Stefan." Nobility, the gentry, and oh, how quaint, even the rabble. And then Merryweather is like, "Why you?" And she continuously throughout the film tries to go for Maleficent, but Flora and Fauna very wisely hold her back. And and then she says something like being quite upset at not receiving an invitation, and then the Queen makes the gravest mistake, like saying, "Oh, you're not offended?" And then Maleficent says, "Why, no, Your Majesty. And to show I bear no ill will, I too shall bestow a gift on the child." And then the fairies are very protective around the princess, and then Maleficent starts to speak, and she says, "Listen well, all of you." And then her staff clangs with a wonderful echo on the floor. And then she says something like, "The princess will indeed grow in grace and beauty, beloved by all who know her. But before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die." And then the Queen goes, "Oh no!" Surprised how much I remember of this, actually. And then Maleficent goes, "Ha ha ha ha." And then the King goes, "Seize that creature!" And then all his men go towards her, and then she said, and then Maleficent's like, "Back, you fools!" And then she just majestically disappears into this kind of like a shape like that, and her crow just flies out of the arch because he doesn't have the magic Maleficent has. Sorry, I just love it so much. And then the Queen and the King are very upset, and then the fairies say, "Oh, Merryweather still has her gift to give." And then King Stefan says, "So she can undo this curse or this evil." I can't remember exactly what he says. And then she says, "Well, no, Maleficent's magic is far too powerful, but she can help," Flora says. And then Merryweather's really, really worried about it. But I'm and then Fauna says, "Just do your best, dear." And then Merryweather gives her gift, and so she says, "Sweet princess, if by some wicked trick, evil trick, or this witch's evil curse should happen, I can't remember the words exactly. A ray of hope I have for thee, not in death but sleep. And when true loves kiss, the spell shall break." And and so she just sets the scene for true love's kiss being the answer to this. So, and then Stefan isn't happy, you know, and so he burns all the spinning wheels in the kingdom. Oops, sorry, I just realised I forgot to put this here, didn't I? So, and then there's a wonderful scene again, very amazing for the animation of the time, of just the burning of the spinning wheels and the billowing of the smoke into the sky. And it's just so incredible that this is an animation. But yeah, so where is my little window? Ah, there it is. So anyway, losing it today, aren't I, Jonathan? So anyway, then there's a scene with the fairies, which isn't that interesting, so I'll probably blasé over it a little bit. But basically, they're discussing what to do about it, and then they make themselves all small and hide in this like drinks cabinet thing, just in case anyone can hear, like Maleficent, and then they discuss various different ideas. Like Flora says, "I'll turn her into a flower. A flower can't prick its finger." And then Merryweather says, "Until Maleficent sends a frost." And then Flora's like, "Yes." And then he's like, "Oh dear." Yeah, and then Fauna says, "She always ruins your nicest things." And then Flora says, "And she'll be expecting us to do something like that." And so then it's back to the drawing board. What do they do and everything? And then Flora gets the idea that they could be free peasant women raising the foundling child, which is obviously Princess Aurora. Yeah. Sorry, trying to get this in. Yeah, so they all go off to tell the king and queen, although Flora takes all their wings before them because they have to look like mortals, so they can't use magic because otherwise Maleficent will be able to find them through the magic and everything. So there we go. So yeah, they know that they have to give up their magic for 16 years to basically be under the radar and everything. So yeah, and so they take Aurora off to the forest, and then it kind of skips to when Aurora is almost 16 years old. She's a beautiful woman, and I think they're in the cottage, and it's because it's the day of her 16th birthday. They want her to they basically want her out the way so they can make her like a cake and stuff. Lots of shenanigans go on here, believe me. And then so they send Aurora off into the forest to get some berries, and then the scene changes, and to be honest, I find this bit a bit dull in the film. I find this bit a bit boring. But sorry, just have another key to find. Here you are. And so but anyway, you know, you can't enjoy all of it, can you? You have to have boring bits to make the good bits more interesting. But yeah, and she has that voice, you know. I won't annoy you more with my voice. And then she meets up with all her animal friends. There's an owl, there's a couple of squirrels, there's birds. So there's a lot, you know, and then she's just singing to them about her prince that she's met in her dreams. And it's like, that is where the "I know you, I met you once upon a dream. I know you." Anyway. And then coincidentally, the prince is taking a trip into the forest on his steed. Is it Samson? I can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember. And he just so happens to hear the beautiful sound of Aurora's voice, almost as if she's calling out to him like a siren call. And he was like, that voice. And so he goes towards it and everything, and Aurora's singing the song and everything, I know you and everything, and then just in the middle of it, he like finishes off the song, and she gets really scared, because I guess this is probably the first time she's ever seen a man, you know, so you know, and I guess her aunts, well, Flora, Fauna and Merryweather, have told her not to speak to strangers and everything, you know, and the dangers, and then at the end of the song, he's like, well, you said we've met before, and then she, something dawns on Aurora, and then she said, oh, I have to go, and then he's like, when will I see you again? And she was like, oh, never. And he was like, never? Well, maybe not never. And then she said, oh, tonight, the little cottage in the glen. And then she goes off, and then it cuts to the three fairies trying to make a cake. And this is one of the funniest scenes in the film. You know, it's hilarious. You know, and Fauna wants to make a cake, and oh god, she tries. She's no idea though. She like folds eggs in with their shells, and she doesn't even know what a teaspoon is. One tisp. I was like, 1 teaspoon, as Merryweather says. And then Merryweather wants to also not Merryweather. Flora wants to make the dress, and but she doesn't know what she's doing either, and so it's just all very, very hilarious, you know, all the shenanigans that are going on, and eventually Merryweather has had enough, and so she's like, I'm thinking of Rose and what she'll think of this mess. I'm gonna go get those wands, and then Fauna said, you know, I think she's right. And then she comes downstairs, waving them everywhere, you know, blasé. You know, here they are, good as new. And then Flora is like, mind where you're waving them. And then she says, close the windows, close the drapes, plug every nook and cranny. We must take no chances, because obviously if the magic gets out, then Maleficent will know where they are. So... Oh, and it just dawns to me, I forgot, didn't I? There was a scene with Maleficent before the woodcutter scene, before we cut to Aurora and the three good fairies. There is a scene at the Forbidden Mountain. In 16 years, they knew that as long as the storms were brewing or whatever over the Forbidden Mountain, her terrible prophecy had not yet been fulfilled. And she's like sat on a stone throne, and she's got all her hobgoblins and evil creatures about, you know, there, who all answered to her. And then she was like, 16 years and not a trace of her. She can't have vanished into thin air. Are you sure you checked everywhere? And this little lizardy man thing is like, oh yes, all of this and all of that and every cradle. And then she's like, every cradle? And then she's like, do you hear that, my pet? As she's talking to her crow. All these years they've been searching for a baby. And then she goes into hysterical laughter. and she's like screeching, and then she's like, fools, imbeciles, idiots. And then she's like uses her staff, and she like, you know, sets lightning onto all of them, and they're all like bashed here, there, and everywhere behind rocks. And then she's like, they're an embarrassment to the forces of evil. And then she sends her crow off. 16 years, lip, sunshine hair and lips red as the rose, don't fail me. And then the crow flies off. So, sorry, I missed that bit. So now we're back in the woodcutter's cottage. They've got the wands and everything, and then Flora's magics up the cake wonderfully, and then... Sorry, Fauna. And then Flora magics up the dress, and this is when the trouble happens, because Merryweather and Flora have this rivalry, particularly over what colour things are, and Flora and Merryweather, and Merryweather wants things to be blue, and Flora wants things to be pink. And then Merryweather thinks it'd be really funny just to change the dress blue whilst Flora was working on it. Very hilarious, actually. I know these sound really simple jokes, but they're actually quite funny. So, anyway, and so it goes blue, and then Flora's like, make it pink. And she's like, Merryweather. And then she's like, make it blue. Make it pink. And eventually, they're just firing magic at each other. And then Merryweather accidentally makes Flora blue. And then there's just a big fight between them where they're both just throwing magic at each other, and the magic goes out of the top of the chimney, which they had not blocked. They forgot to block. And then the crow that's flying by sees all this magic spanning out. And then it pans back to the cottage, and then the three good fairies. What did they do? Yeah, the three good fairies stop the magic and everything, and put everything right, and then Aurora comes in. Then she sees all the stuff there, and they're like, surprise, surprise! And she says, oh, you dears, this is the happiest day of my life. And then she said, and then she starts singing that I know you, I met you once upon a dream. And then the fairies are like, she's in love. This is terrible. And then she's like, why is it terrible? She said, you're already betrothed to Prince Philip, my dear. And then she said, I can't be betrothed. I'd have to be a princess. You are, my dear. And at this point, you can see the crow at the windowsill listening to everything with that evil sort of grin on his face. And then they say, I'm sorry, but you can never see that young man again. And then she's devastated. She's like, no, no! And she goes up to a bed and then cries. And then the fairies say, and I thought, wait, she'd be so happy. I don't really know why they think that's a surprise, when they've just told her she can never see the man she clearly loves again. But anyway. So then it cuts to Aurora dressed in a long blue cloak with the three fairies, and they're back in their fairiness with the wings and everything, heading their way to the castle. And they get into the castle, and they get to her rooms, and oops, sorry. And then they get to her rooms, and then what does she do? Oh yeah, and then she just like slumps on by a dressing table and starts to cry. And then the fairies, I think Flora says something. Oh no, before she cries, sorry, they say just one final gift, a crown to wear to match their grace and beauty, or something like that. I can't remember. Sorry. And then they say, and then she starts to cry and sits down and everything. And then they say, let's leave her. And then they go outside, and then I think Fauna says, it's that boy. What on earth are we going to do? And then I think before the conversation gets going that much, they hear a oh, and then they're like, Aurora, Maleficent, and then they go into the room. But before this, you see a silhouette of Maleficent in the fireplace, and just the eerie orb of her staff. And then you see a doorway opening the fireplace, and then Aurora walking towards it. And then as the fairies come in, they just see Aurora disappearing into the fireplace, and the fireplace solidify again. And then I love this scene as well. This is some fantastic music by Tchaikovsky in the ballet, you know, and it's just incredible combined with everything. And yeah, and so Aurora's like gradually, bit by bit, foot by foot, footstep by footstep, going up this tower, and Maleficent is like guiding her up, you know, and then the fairy's like saying, "Don't touch anything," and then she goes and she's at the top of the staircase, and then there's a spinning wheel that just appears out of thin air, and then Maleficent says, "Touch the spindle, touch it, I say," and she touches the spindle. And then at that moment, all the three fairies burst in, and then Maleficent is there. And then she says, "You poor insignificant fools, thinking you could defeat me, the mistress of all evil. Well, here's your precious princess." Yeah, so she's and then she just brings her cloak up, and underneath is Aurora, you know, and so then the three fairies are upset, and they're just they get Aurora into her bed, and they're just stroking her hair and stuff, and stroking like the bedding. Oh, just 1 minute, Sarah. Sorry, what was I going to say? Oh, so anyway, they yeah. So and then there's like poor King Stefan and the Queen. They'll be heartbroken when we tell them, when they find out, sorry. And then Laura's like, "They're not going to. We'll put them all asleep until Rose awakens." And then there's just a wonderful scene with the backing of, is it I Know You, but slower, I can't remember. And then they just all fly around and then just wave their wands, and it's like this dust comes out which sends everyone to sleep, including the fountain. They turn everything off, you know, and yeah, so so Flora. Sorry, just getting my train of thought again. Yeah, so, and then just as they're sending the king to sleep, and King Hubert, he starts to mumble something about a peasant girl, because Philip, of course, had said something about the peasant girl that he'd met in the forest just before he disappears again. And then so Hubert says, "Oh, about this peasant girl," and then something twigs in Flora, and she says, peasant girl, who is she? What is she?" You know, and then he was like, and he says something like, "Oh, once upon a dream," and then she's like, "Once upon a dream." Philip, Maleficent. And then she meets the three fairies at the top of the great hall, and then she's like, got a moment to lose. We've got to get to the cottage now. And it's the and then they get to it, and Philip's gone. And of course, sorry, there is a scene before that as they're coming, and then Phillips goes to the cottage, and then he's like, and then he's like, "I shall I knock?" And then the horse says, "Yep," nods, "Yeah," and he goes in, and then Maleficent's goons all go and then capture him and tie him up, and then Maleficent says, "Well, isn't this a pleasant surprise? I set my trap for a peasant, I catch a prince. Away with him. But gently, my dears. I have plans for our royal guest." She's just such an amazing, majestic voice, isn't she? So anyway, and then he what was I going to say? So, and then of course the three fairies arrive too late. So they and then they say, "She's got Prince Philip at the Forbidden Mountain," And then Flora's like, we can't go there. And Flora's like, yes, we can, and we must. And then, sorry, I'm having way too much fun doing this. And then there's like a bit of the mist and everything, and it's a bit more music. And then it's. And then the three fairies, you know, they're just coming like to like kind of a drawbridgey thing, and then they're trying to hide behind everything and everything, and oh god, I forgot my tea. I'm filming. Haha. I can put you in, you know. So they're trying to make sure they're not spotted. There's a guard coming, looking left and right, and they make themselves really tiny. By the way, this is the best part of the film, pretty much. This film climaxes so well, and this bit at the end is my favourite. Well, it's my favourite film, my favourite end, my favourite everything, you know. But so anyway, yeah, they make themselves really tiny. They manage to go flying through a gargoyle, and then they scare themselves witless because there's all these stone gargoyle things that are like scary, 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 scary. And then they come across a sleeping goon, and it's like and then they hear something like celebrations and everything, and then Flora flies over towards the noise, and then she waves her wand to beckon the other two fairies over, and they all go to these bricks, and then they just peek over them, and they see a fire and all the hobgoblins and everything dancing around them, and Maleficent in her stone throne, just satisfied watching them in celebration. And then she's I can't remember the first bit, but she says, "What a pity Prince Philip can't be here to join the celebrations. Come, we must go cheer him up." And then she goes down the stairs, and then a cloak slithers behind her, as it's always part of her. And then she just majestically gets the key out of her pocket. The fairies are following her at this point, and just puts it in the lock, which is the nod to her role in Cinderella, because there's a lot of stuff about the key unlocking Cinderella in the tower room, you know, so there's a bit of homage to that character, and then Philip's all chained up, and then she's like, "Why so melancholy?" You know, and then she says something like, "You know, you are the object of a dream come true," something like that. I know I've got the words totally wrong, but you know, you get the gist. And then she's like, and then she just makes like a vision for him, and she's like, "Behold, King Stephen's castle, and in yonder topmost tower, dreaming of a true love, it's the fair Princess Aurora. She is indeed most beautiful and fair, lips that shame the red, red rose." And she's something in repose. I can't remember all the words, I'm sorry. And then she what does she do then? Oh yes, so and then the years roll by, but 100 years to a steadfast heart are but a day. And now, our prince can finally go his way, and strong and tall to wake his love. And then he's like trying to get free because he's so angry and everything, and yes, so she's she says, "Come, we must leave our prince with his most happy thoughts." And then she again locks the door, and then she slips the key into her cloak in a almost identical fashion to how she does it in Cinderella. as a nod to that film. So yeah, so she and then as she's oh yes, I think during all that thing when she's doing she's saying mean things, Merryweather's like, why you, but obviously they hold her back again. And then Maleficent, as she's heading up back towards her chamber, she's like, for the first time in 16 years I shall sleep well. And then as soon as she's gone, the coast is clear. The three good fairies swoop into the cell, make themselves big, and it's like no time to explain. And then they one of them unlocks a door, and another frees the prince, and then I think Flora says something like, "The road to true love is still barred by many obstacles, which you alone will have to face." So arm thyself with a shield of virtue and a mighty sword of truth, for these weapons of righteousness will triumph over evil. And yes, so and they step outside, and as soon as they step outside, it's do 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 do, and and then it's like the crow has brought all his cronies there, and it's like go 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 go, and then they just and I think Flora goes, Philip, this way, and they go back, and they have to go out a window, and he's fighting them with his sword and everything, and then he just drops himself down onto this like slurry heap and slides down, and then his horse is going nee! And then I think one of the fairies frees the horse, and then he gets on, and then he starts galloping towards this archway with portcullis, and then all the hobgoblins and everything are on top trying to stop him, and then they I think they fire arrows, and then Philip, watch out, and then Flora turns them into flowers, and then they drop rocks, and then she turns them into bubbles, and he gets through the portcullis just as it's falling, and then Maleficent, you tell those fools to no, and then he just leaps majestically over this precipice, from one bit of the drawbridge to the other, which has broken over time. And Maleficent is like, her cloak billowing. She's just so tremendous, and climbing up this spiral tower. And then she's just like throwing like rocks at him and everything with her power of lightning, and trying to stop him at every opportunity. As he gets closer and closer to Stefan's castle, he leaps from cliff to cliff. It's just amazing. And then I can never remember the exact wording of these, but she says something like, Stefan's castle shall be his tomb, born through the sky like a fog of doom. Now go with the curse and serve me well, round Stefan's castle cast my spell. And then there's these lightning bolts around Stefan's castle, and a thing of thorns just appears around it. And on that happy note, I've just got to get my next bit ready. Yeah, so this is the absolute climax of the film now, and Philip's heading towards the forest of thorns, and fairies are close behind him, and Maleficent's going and then he just goes through and he starts chopping with his sword, and the fairies release his cloak whenever it gets caught by the thorns, and he keeps going until he's finally through, and Maleficent's, no, it cannot be, and she flies over and dumps herself right in front of him, and she and then she's like, now you will deal with me, O Prince, and all the powers of hell. And then she just transforms into a dragon, and and then the prince is afraid. He's got fear in his eyes, because wouldn't you be if you had a gigantic dragon in front of you? and it's like and then he's just like, and then it breathes fire, and his shield saves him though, you know, from getting burnt, and then it's so powerful and so hot that it basically destroys part of the kind of pathway going to the castle, and then he's like snapping, and then there's more fire, and the whole forest of thorns is alight, and then Flora's like saying, up this way, and so he climbs up the cliff face, and then he's like going on top of the cliff, and then the dragon is there, and then he's like, and he's just fighting with his sword, and then the dragon's like, and then he loses his shield, and then Maleficent starts to laugh, and then the three fairies and Flora speaking says, "And now, sword of truth, strike true, will evil die and good endure," and he throws the sword into the heart of Maleficent, and it just goes, ugh! And then there's a lot of scuffle and everything, and then the whole screen kind of goes all this foggy sort of black, and then when it clears again, Maleficent is down. You just see her cloak and the sword in her, and the prince is just at the top of the cliff looking down. So I'm getting so excited, I think I'm jiggling the camera. Sorry. And then this is just the boring bit at the end, you know, happily ever after. You know, he's done his bit, he saved everyone from Maleficent, and after all, it was a battle for good versus evil. Well and truly, that's what I love about it so much, the theming and everything. So anyway, the prince he grabs his horse and then goes towards the castle, and then you see him go span up the stairs, and then he sees the princess and he kisses her, and she wakes up. And the fairies are like celebrating. Two of them hug each other, and the other just crying, clapping, and then and then everyone wakes up, and then I think there's a conversation between Stefan and Hubert, and then it was like, well, my son says he's going to marry, and then it's and then Aurora and Philip come down the stairs, and then like Hubert's like, it's Stefan's like, it's Aurora. And then Hubert's like, and Philip, and then he's like, I don't understand. And then they start to dance, and it's the classic Sleeping Beauty waltz. Yeah, and it's really lovely scene. And then Hubert's like, I don't understand. And then Aurora just kisses him on the cheek. And eventually he's like, oh, it doesn't matter, they're together, that's all that matters. And then it just ends with them dancing through the sky. Dancing in the thing. And then all of a sudden, and then I think Flora's like really upset. And then Fauna's really upset. And Flora's like, what's the matter, my dear? And then she's like, oh, I just love happy endings. And then she says, yes, I do too. Blue! And she realises the dress is blue, and then she just goes, make it pink. And then, of course, Merryweather realises, and then she's like, make it blue. And then it keeps going right to the end, and then they continue dancing, the dress changes from blue to pink, and you never really know what colour it is right at the end. That is just how he always leaves you guessing right till the end. Oh, it was just brilliant. And then it's just, and then they just end, and then the book closes, and you just get the beautiful the end in that same room where the book was. I can't actually believe I recited that film from beginning to end, and we were just over an hour. Maybe I'll cut some stuff out so it won't be quite that long, but I honestly don't know how you guys will take that, but I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, it's and you don't get annoyed by my singing or my impressions or anything. But I just thought I wanted to try it, wanted to see, you know, if I could do it, you know, if I could actually have that memory or not. So just going to continue building this now. I will show you progress on it, you know, once I've finished it, you know, and everything. But yeah, stay tuned for our live on Friday at 4 p.m. Make sure you come online at that point if you want to join us. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please, please, please give me comments to see if you liked it or not, or if you thought it was the stupidest thing ever. I take criticism, you know, constructive criticism anyway. I just thought I'd try this and have a bit of fun for a change. But yeah, so if you liked it, give me the thumbs up, and if you like this content in general, consider subscribing to my channel. It's not all stuff like this. There is some much more normal content, although I do inject some of my personality into all my videos, you know, but I do try and give really good unboxings and do some tutorials from time to time, and I do the whipping chats where I show how I'm getting on and everything. Okay, so hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.